Hi, I'm Taylor.
And I am Whitney. And we are the Ghost Sisters.
The Ghost Sisters. Oh.
Ghost Sisters.
Fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. So we actually know what we're doing this time.
I know what we are doing this time. You don't know what I'm doing this time.
Well, no, but meaning that I know that you are the one that's actually doing the thing. You know that you're the
Yeah.
one actually doing the thing. Tori
Yes.
actually, yesterday, she was like, I listened to that episode and y'all had me rolling on the way into work. She was like, I
Oh
was
my God.
crying. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So
But here we are.
here we
So
are.
hooray. So I'm just gonna hop right on in there.
Let's go.
All right, so we are not doing a creature feature.
What?
What?
What are we
So
doing?
do we actually know what we're doing? I
No.
do. So, all right. When we talk about hauntings and ghosts and curses, we wonder about why or how something can become cursed or haunted. There's a lot of different popular things that can become like a cursed object, like dolls, of
Mm-hmm.
course, Dybbuk boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, houses can, of course, be haunted. Some people say that they're cursed,
Mm-hmm.
and different institutions, like you've covered. But there's something that we are all familiar with, that we are all around in some way, shape, or form, that I don't think people think about as being cursed or haunted. So, with that, can a car be haunted, cursed, or even have its own evil intentions?
Okay. Yeah, that's you threw me for a loop here.
I'm glad. So we are going to get into it. So we are going to start with the curse of Little Bastard.
Okay,
Okay?
yes.
So from 1953 to 1956, Porsche or whatever the fuck you want to call it, produced the Porsche 550 Spider. It is a two-door German sports car. The engine is mounted in the back of the car in front of the rear axle. I don't know about car shit. So
Yeah.
apparently that is supposed to give it a more even weight distribution and allows for a more natural, neutral handling of the vehicle.
Okay.
This particular car had a top speed of 220 kilometers per hour, which is about 140 miles per hour,
Mm-hmm.
and could accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers in about 8.5 seconds. So 0 to 60 in about 8.5 seconds.
Yeah.
This is back in the 50s.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. So this car was made for racing, but it was also a legal street car. Like you could go purchase it and go drive around and do whatever the fuck you want. Why
Mm-hmm.
not? In May 1953, it actually won its very first race in the Nürburgring Eiffel race. Nürburgring?
I'm pretty sure you're
What?
having a stroke, but sure.
I should have looked some of these things up beforehand, but I didn't. I just have the spelling. So I'm really sorry, y'all.
It's fine.
It won its first race. We're going to call it the Eiffel race because I can't say the first thing. And that's actually what drew the new car racing enthusiast, 24-year-old James Dean, to come to purchase one of his own.
Mhm.
And it actually was number 130, to be exact, of the set of vehicles that were
Oh.
made at that time. So the car was purchased on September 21st, 1955. Dean took the car that he named Little Bastard to his mechanic, Rolf Wertherich. So sorry,
Sure.
Wertherich, so that he could do some work to actually update the vehicle and make it a stronger racing vehicle. Dean, of course, then, tooted his own horn and showed off the car before heading out to the Salinas road race that was scheduled for October 1st and October 2nd.
Okay.
One of the actor friends that Dean showed off his car to, Alec Guinness, stated that it had an ominous feeling and he was a little concerned about Dean's new purchase. He wrote in his diary about the 550 Spider, little bastard. The sports car looked sinister to me, exhausted, hungry, feeling a little ill tempered in spite of Dean's kindness. He even then stated to Dean, "Please never get in it. If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week."
Good lord.
So, yeah,
That's
I've never seen a car that's given me that kind of reaction. Like, I've seen a
right.
car and been like, "Ugh," because it's just gross looking or whatever, but, like,
Yeah. Like, I've never had a car make me be like, "That shit's gonna kill me," like
on Friday, September 30th, Wertherick suggested to Dean that he should drive the vehicle to the Salinas road race. That way he could kind of get a feel for the vehicle since he did the updates and everything to it. And also so that the car could quote unquote settle in. I don't know if it's like a house when you hear like some clicking and thuds and stuff and you're like, "Oh, the house is settling."
Yeah, maybe.
If a car settles, I don't know. I mean, there's been times that I've had a new car or something and like it'll make a noise and I'm like, "Well, that's weird," and it never does it again, and so it's like maybe it
Right.
just needed to click in place or I don't fucking
Yeah,
know. Again,
maybe. We're not car people.
not at all. So Dean was like, "Sure, why not?" And said that he would drive it and Wertherick would sit in the passenger, side in case he needed anything, like if something weird happened, and then they could pull over and he could take care of it. So, kind of dealing with what you were dealing with your car, like, that way Wertherick, the mechanic, could actually hear what was wrong and be like, "Yeah, I got that. I can fix it. I know exactly where that is."
Okay.
The pair was followed by Bill Hickman, who was a friend of Dean's, in Dean's 1955 Ford Country Squire. At one point during their drive, Dean was pulled over by the police, so the caravan stopped. He
Mhm.
was pulled over because he was going 10 miles over the speed limit,
That's it?
which it didn't say what the speed limit was, but I mean, like, alrighty.
Yeah.
Dean was like, "Cool, whatever." Moved on with his life, took the ticket. I'm sure it was pocket change for him, so whatever, and continued driving. So, driving at about 85 miles per hour on Route 46, Dean was hit by a Ford two door driven by 24-year-old Donald Turnip
What?
Seed.
I was like, "What?"
I'm sorry, the P and the S got mixed up. Turnip Seed. He
Okay.
was a veteran and a student. What had happened was Turnip Seed took a sudden turn onto State Highway 41. He stated that the road kind of had that weird mirror effect, and he didn't quite see Dean on the road at the time, but you could see whenever the police got out to investigate the accident, there were skid marks on the road that did show that he did attempt to stop for about 40 yards before the collision did happen.
Wow.
There were some sources that did say that Dean's last words to Wertherick were, "He's gotta stop. I think he sees me."
Mm.
But the conditions at the time, it was a windy road, the sun was really bright, it was hard for
Mhm.
really everyone to see what was happening. The accident ended up ejecting Wertherick from the vehicle, and he landed across the street,
Oh
and
my gosh.
Turnipseed suffered just some minor injuries. Wertherick, who was ejected, spent about 18 months in the hospital with a fractured jaw and a fractured hip and body lacerations.
Damn.
And according to the LA Times article after the accident, Dean died instantly at 5:30 p.m. from a broken neck, numerous broken bones, and severe body lacerations.
Damn.
The accident, however, was ruled as quote unquote unavoidable, and that Turnip Seed was not to be blamed or charged with anything, and Little Bastard was determined to be a total loss.
I mean, damn.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
insane. Like,
yeah, like accidents happen, and it's just kind of a weird, perfect storm of conditions of this is what happened. And it's unfortunate, but like, it wasn't really Turnip Seed's fault. It's not like he was drinking and driving or It's the
Mhm.
'50s, he wasn't texting or something, you know? So that's
Yeah.
that's where we're at. That is the tragic death of Jane Steen.
Goodness.
Yeah. So that leads us into William Ursrich, another racer who ended up purchasing Little Bastard and used it for car parts. So of course, it was a total loss. He purchased it. He was like, "What the fuck ever." So the engine went into a Lotus IX. Uh, I don't know what
Sure.
that is, but whatever. Cool. Proud of you guys. And then some of the suspension parts were purchased by Troy Lee McHenry and were used for another Porsche that was also a racer. So both drivers ended up crashing in the same race in the 1956 Pomona sports car races.
Mm.
Within the first lap, McHenry hit the only tree on the racetrack and passed away. And this is only about 11 months after Dean's death.
Wow.
McHenry was Little Bastard's second victim.
Mhm.
The rest of Little Bastard did find new homes, as well as with. What did I write? That didn't make sense. Okay. So parts of Little Bastard did find new homes. George Barris, who sold two of the tires. Uh, no, it still didn't make sense. I don't know what I wrote. Anyways, okay, so George Barris is the one that purchased the rest of the parts, and he sold two of the four tires that were still intact
Mhm.
off. And then he loaned out the mangled body of the car to the Los Angeles chapter of the National Safety Council to put on display.
Mm. Okay.
It is reported that the two tires that he sold off both exploded at the exact same time, causing another accident.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And the car body that was all mangled,
Bangle.
bangle. Anyways, is actually what caused victim three to lose his life.
Oh my god.
So George Barkus lost his life when it fell on top of him while he was trying to transport it. So the car was actually supposed to be transported to the Road Safety Expo, and Barkus was hired to make that trip.
Damn.
So the car also is said to have not blah, blah, blah. The car was also said to have caught fire mysteriously in 1960 while it was in storage. Didn't see too much. It was just like, yep, it caught on fire. Moving on. Alrighty. And then there were also some stories about the car just mysteriously disappearing while in transport from Miami to LA and never
Oh.
seen again.
Oh.
That is the story of Little Bastard. And it's a story that I actually had researched way, way, way long ago. And I just love that a car can be. It reminds me of Futurama with the honking. Because that's like,
Honk honk.
it's like one of my favorite episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, Little Bastard. Now this next one, we're gonna see. We're gonna see how this goes. This is an interesting one. I really had to do a lot of research for this one because I was like, what? Because I suck at life. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
talk about Archduke Franz Ferdinand's Groff and Stift death limo.
Okay.
All right. So on June 28th, 1914, the Austro-Hungarian Empire's Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie, yo Sophie, not the same
Filthy.
Sophie, not at all, used the 1910 Graf and Stift double phaeton, phaeton? I
Je
don't
ne
know.
sais, je ne sais pas.
It kept pulling up, and I was like, I guess I should mention that it's a phaeton. Phaeton. But again, I don't fucking know cars, so I
Baton?
just know these are foot fatal. Maybe
Baton?
I don't know.
Someone out there correct
Fatal,
us because we are definitely wrong.
and we will just keep saying fatal.
Mhm.
So, anyways, the double fatal luxury limo with a blood red interior to tour the Sarajevo. I still can't even. I even looked it up just now. Anyways, Sarajevo in Serbia.
Okay.
so I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really bad at it. Anyways, okay. The 31.5 horsepower engine limo, I don't
I don't know if that's a lot. Yeah.
is it good? Is it bad?
Is
I
that
don't
a
know.
lot? I don't know. Let's see.
Let's see. I mean, I'm assuming for the 1910s, it probably was
Oh,
not,
yeah,
like,
probably.
too extravaganza, but, like,
Yeah.
whatever. That limo was actually loaned to Ferdinand. It wasn't even his, like, part of the court's limo or anything
Mm,
like that. So it was loaned to him by Count von Harrach, who served in the Austrian Army Transport Corps. And like I said, it wasn't Ferdinand's car, and his drivers were actually very unfamiliar with it.
mm,
So during their tour, there were about 6 potential assassins who wanted to turn the Austrian controlled Bosnia into part of the new Slav state and were associated and helped by the Black Hand. They hid along the tour route with the intention of assassinating Franz Ferdinand to
mhm.
further their political case against the presumptive heir to the Austria-Hungarian throne.
Okay.
Doing the doing During the tour, there was actually a failed attempt on Ferdinand's life. And due to this, the limo driver actually took a new route. And this was Leopold Loca, who was actually one of Ferdinand's chauffeurs, and again was unfamiliar with the limo and this new route that he had to take. So, this open aired limo, which, as history has showed us, you should not drive convertibles or anything like that,
Right.
apparently actually stalled out in front of a cafe where Bosnian Serb student Gavrilo Princip had actually stopped to get a drink. He was a little upset that the first attempt on his life did not go well and stopped to get a drink. To
Fair.
Princip's surprise, he came out of the cafe and saw the limo of the target of the Bosnian assassins that had just stalled in front of him.
Aw.
So this limo turns, they're, reacting from this horrible thing that just happened to him. And then the
Mhm,
limo stalls out at this cafe and he just happens to be there. So, of
mm.
course, he saw this as his opportunity to right the failed attempt from earlier and assassinate Franz Ferdinand and his wife. According to the Smithsonian, Princip confessed and said that he raised his gun against the automobile without aiming. Princip fired 2 shots without looking at his victims and hit Ferdinand in the neck and his wife in the stomach.
Oh my
Doctors said
gosh.
that there was no way to save them. So, of course, this assassination tipped the unease that was in Europe and started World War One.
Yes.
Now, can the Graf and Stift limo really be blamed for the beginning of World War One? Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Could it just be coincidence? I'm sure some of you are like, it's fucking coincidence. Fuck off,
Yeah.
Whitney. But just wait. But wait, there's more. So, if it hadn't have stalled out, would he have survived? Would World War One have started? Would this have still been an issue? Who knows? We
Who
don't know.
knows? Yeah.
Now, according to Weekly World News in 1981, they claimed that the death limo was then responsible for dozens more deaths.
Hmm.
So the limo did pass along to several different owners that either died or went insane.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. During World War One and during the 1920s, the car had seen at least 6 different accidents and 13 deaths.
wow.
Among those, among, what the
Among
fuck is wrong? Among, I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, so among those deaths included an Austrian general who, after driving it through Vienna, just went insane and then
oh,
spent the rest of his days in an asylum. Not
casual.
sure what happened to him or why he went insane or any of that, but he did.
It happens to the best of
So,
us.
whatever. So after he went insane and moved on with his life, kind of, the vehicle made its way to the governor of Yugoslavia.
Okay.
And after he was in 4 accidents and lost his arm, decided to sell the vehicle.
Sorry, that's not funny, but it just hit me. I wasn't expecting and lost his
That he
arm.
lost his arm. Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm like, none of this is funny, but also at the same time, like, "The fuck?"
After the second accident, I would have been like, "I'm getting rid of this car." Like,
I mean, especially with, like, its track record up till then, you would be like,
yeah,
"Okay, no, no,
yeah.
I'm done." Like, Taylor, you yourself have been in a couple accidents, and it was all in the one vehicle and everything, and, like, you kept that car for a while. You kind of had to because you were a
I was gonna
student, but
say, yeah,
still, you could have been
yeah.
like, "It's a death car," and mom and dad would have been like, "Too fucking bad."
Yeah, 100%.
Is
It would
what
have
it
been
is.
like, "Nope, this is what we got you. Deal with it."
Make friends with the car. I don't know.
And for the record, neither of those were my fault.
So, it's actually kind of funny that we're talking about this because I literally was talking about this last night with Will.
Really?
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, we were talking about
Huh.
accidents and everything and, like, how many we've been in and if they were our fault and just stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, none of the accidents that I've been in have been my fault.
I've only been in one that was my fault, and
She was a very nice lady.
she was very nice. She was like, "There is no damage to my car. Your car's fucked up, but there's no damage to my car, and have a Merry Christmas." And I was like, "Okay." And then I called mom, and she was like, "Well, where are you?" And I was like, "I'm by a Target." And she was like, "No, where are you?" And I was like, "I don't know." So clearly, I do well in
You do
bad
not do well in
situations.
crisis situations.
No. Well, no.
I mean,
Anyways, okay. So
yeah.
yeah. So after the governor of Yugoslavia decided, fuck this car, he sold it to a surgeon friend of his. And 6 months later, he was in a wreck and he died.
Oh, Jesus.
There was even a captain of the German army who had the vehicle
Mhm.
and was killed along with two bystanders in an accident.
Good
So,
lord. You know what I'm picturing through all of this
mhm,
is,
mhm.
you know how on Legend of Zelda, on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that you can do like the hero's path mode and it shows where Link is gone.
Each
And then
time
when
where
he
you die.
dies, and then he goes, "Ah," that's what I imagine every time that car kills somebody.
Yeah. That or it's like beep, beep, toot, toot. Anyways. Yeah. So after that accident, there was a Swiss racer, not like I don't know why I feel like that's like speed racer, but it's not like, he was Swiss and he was a racer. Anyways,
What?
he rolled the car.
What? don't I don't like I didn't feel like there was a need for clarification, and then you clarified and made it so much more confusing.
Well, because in my brain, I see like I'm reading Swiss racer and it makes me think of speed racer. And I'm like, it's not speed racer. That's not his name.
Oh, okay.
His
Okay.
nationality is Swiss.
Yes,
And
and
he was
he is a
a race
racer.
car driver,
Gotcha. Okay.
and he rolled that car. I didn't find if he died or not, but he did roll it. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then the very last one that I found that is somehow more tragic than the rest of them, but not really. Everyone dies, and so that's tragic. But there was a Romanian owner who lost control of the vehicle on the way to his wedding, and he and
Oh.
5 passengers died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
So
car.
right?
Damn.
Fuck you. So the death limo has since retired and is now on display in Austria's War History Museum in Vienna.
We should go.
Sure, why not? And
Yeah.
a lot of people like when they go to see it because okay, so all of the accidents that we just talked about, car looks perfectly fine.
Even when it got rolled,
Yeah, it looks fine.
what the fuck?
Like, I mean, it looks old as fuck, but it's
Well,
fine.
sure, but yeah, like structurally it's
So
fine.
yeah,
Damn.
it's not like
Damn.
little bastard that just like got demolished.
Right.
Like it just is existing. But I mean, I don't know. At 1910s, they make things different.
They
Like,
do,
you
yeah.
get in a car now and you're like, the wind's gonna blow it over. Like, fuck.
Right.
Which I know is a thing. Don't at me for wind roll and that kind of shit. Like, you know what I mean. You get in the
Yes.
car and you feel like it's paper. Anyways.
Yes, I get what you mean.
So we're gonna move off of the cursed vehicles.
Okay.
And I have a little there's actually a lot of like cursed and haunted vehicles. So this may
Hmm.
turn into like a weird series or something that I do
Cool.
because there's many others. But I also wanted to touch on the ghost crash that happened in England. And this is a
Oh,
more recent thing. Yeah.
okay.
So on December 11th, 2002, there
Okay.
were a few reports that came into the Surrey Police Department about seeing a car completely lose control and swerve off of the road with its headlights just on. Police went out to investigate the crash, and there was no sign of a crash or a vehicle. So, police went out to investigate, and they didn't find evidence of a crash, and they didn't see a vehicle at all.
Mhm.
And so they kind of I didn't really see if they were like, "Eh," and then someone else was like, "No, get back out there," or if they were like, "We gotta keep looking."
Mhm.
But either way, it was determined they needed to keep searching that area. 20 yards away from the scene where people were saying that they saw a car swerve off of the road and crash, police did find a vehicle that was underneath a whole bunch of, like, overgrowth and everything like that, and it contained the skeleton of a man who passed away 5 months prior.
Oh, wow.
So it seems as though the driver, 21-year-old Christopher Chandler, he had actually apparently been out drinking with his friends.
Mm.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, like, go enjoy a beer or something, but, like, don't drink and drive, y'all.
Right.
But for reasons unknown to his friends and his family, whenever he left, he made his way to Surrey. He didn't apparently have a need or a reason to go to Surrey or drive through it or anything like that. And it's believed that the drivers who were calling in about this crash that they saw were possibly seeing a residual haunting of that crash
Right.
and leading to the discovery of his body, which, as upsetting and horrible as that is, I'm sure is a relief to know, like, the family to know what had happened to their son.
Right.
Police had also taken a look at, like, his cell phone records and everything like that to try to figure out if there was, like, a reason he went by Surrey or anything like that, but there was a call that pinged right at that spot that didn't even last, like, a minute.
Mm.
So it sound like that call and that call went out to his it doesn't sound like it even connected, and
Oh.
it doesn't sound like it well, they weren't sure if it happened before the accident or if it happened after, if it was like, you know,
Right.
heat touching things.
Yeah.
But
Bleh.
yeah, so the that ghost crash in England was a very big thing that I saw whenever I was doing my research for stuff.
Mhm.
So the last thing that we are going to discuss is good old Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln. In good old Abe Lincoln fashion, he doesn't quit, man. So, we're gonna talk about his ghost funeral train.
Of course.
Of course, because why the fuck not?
Mhm.
Sure, let's go, Abe. So, after the assassination of President Lincoln, Mary Todd Lincoln didn't want her husband's remain to be kind of a national spotlight. She really wanted to grieve and mourn on her own. You know, it's her husband, it's
Sure.
not
Yeah.
America's husband, but America saw differently, and they gave outcry, and Mary Todd Lincoln eventually gave in and said, "Fine,"
Hmm.
and they had a public funeral. So in April 1865, Lincoln's funeral commenced. On April 18th, the East Room of the White House was open for grieving Americans and mourners to come in to view the deceased president, say their goodbyes, all of that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And then on April 19th, he was transported from the White House to the Capitol for the funeral, which occurred on the 19th through the 20th.
Okay.
And then on the morning of April 21st, 1865, Lincoln's body, along with his exhumed remains of his son, Willie, who had passed away in the White House, began the funeral procession on the train from Washington, D.C., through New York City to his hometown in Springfield, Illinois.
Okay.
The funeral car was draped with, a lot of black and very ornate, detailed fixtures and stuff, and it
Mhm.
was, super fancy, a ball. And so the train, it had 9 cars. It was 9 cars in length, and the presidential car was the very last car of the set, with
Mhm.
the caboose being in the back. The presidential car was intended for transporting the president and his family on trips.
Mhm.
It was only completed a few months before the death of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
So sadly, this was the first and the last time that the president would travel in this vehicle or in this train.
Wow.
Or was it?
Oh.
Oh. So railway employees in Albany, New York, because that's where it made one of its stops so that all of the people could come by and say their goodbyes and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. And other people in that area have actually stated that they have seen the funeral train on its tracks multiple times since 1865.
Hmm.
They report feelings of like really cold air that rushes by, like a train is rushing by, but it's cold air because, I guess ghost trains can change air.
I guess.
Sure. Why not?
Mhm.
Why not? But as soon as people look up, they see this like really old-timey train that passes by on the tracks, and
Hmm.
they decide that it must be Lincoln's train because of the signature picture of Abraham Lincoln on the front of the train, or somehow they can see into the back car and see
Mhm.
his, you know, coffin.
Hmm.
Which when I read that, I was like, "How what are you, like, on the tracks and it runs you over, and so you're in the thing, and so you can see the thing?" I'm assuming it's still pretty fast, like, you just catch a glimpse, like, I don't know.
I now want
Okay.
a funeral train with a
Oh my
big ass
god.
picture of myself on it.
Oh my god. That took a turn I wasn't expecting, and I'm upset that I was not expecting it. Moving on, Taylor.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
okay. So aside from, like, the cold air and everything, apparently watches and clocks seem to just stop working whenever this train passes by.
Okay.
It doesn't say why, it's just what it does. Like, I don't know if they were like, "Nope, time for funeral," and so they were like, "Fuck all the rest of you guys," and it, like, stops everyone's watches.
I wonder because what time period are we in modern times that they're seeing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
So I could see if their watches do the watches start back up again?
I would assume so. It just stated that it stops working when it passes by. So I would
Huh.
think that means when it has left the area, that it starts back up. Which now, oh, that just, like, fucked me up. It made me think of the time slips. What if this isn't
Woo!
actually a ghost train? What
It's a
if
time
this is an
slip.
actual time slip area? And that's why people state that stuff stops working near it because there
Yeah.
is no time. Because oh my god, damn, I just went down a rabbit hole.
I have devastated
I have
myself.
devastated myself, which is interesting because Will actually sent me, like, 2 days ago, a picture, that came up when I was researching the time slips and everything, and it's, like, the 1940s or something like that. No, no, not the 40s, like the 30s or the 20s or something. It's, like, way, way earlier.
Okay.
Anyways, and it's, like, a normal looking dude, and he's, like, really tall,
Uh-huh.
which I feel like I need to say that, but he's really tall, and he's got, like, a fedora, and he's got, like, a trench coat, and then it looks like he's talking on a cell phone.
Oh, I've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because he sent it to me, and he was like, I wasn't expecting to see this," and I was like, "Yeah, I saw it, like, when I was doing the time slip thing," and he was like, "That's what I thought of." I was like, "Woohoo, Will, yay." But yeah, Lincoln's in a time slip.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Time for the time slip. Let's do it. Anyways, okay, we're not going back to the time slips. Okay,
Okay.
so clock stop watching. People have
Ooh,
stated that
what?
what?
Clock stop watching?
Fuck. I gotta go to bed. I can't function anymore. Screw you. I literally have barely a paragraph left, and then we're done with the podcast, and
You can
apparently I
do it.
can't function.
You can do it.
Okay. People have stated seeing ghostly and sometimes skeletal figures on the train, like at the front of the train. They think that they're like engineers or something like that. But sometimes they're just in the passenger cars, like as passengers. Which then
No.
pulls me back from the whole time slip thing, unless what if Taylor, okay,
Oh,
what if
Whitney.
bear with me. What if the train itself isn't in a time slip? What if a residual haunting is in a time slip?
A residual haunting is in a time slip.
Yeah. Like, what if
I was like, my
the
brain is
haunting
trying to comprehend that.
because what if so the train goes, and then,
Yeah.
like, a few years later, there's a haunting of it, just like with the ghost car, residual haunting.
Mhm.
Because they've only stated that that happened once with the ghost car. It's not like it happens over and over and over and over again. So what if this happened one single time, and that one single time is actually in a time slip itself?
I get
And
what you're
so
saying.
people think that they're seeing a ghost funeral train, but really they're in a time slip of a ghost funeral train. Ah,
We just got very inception-y.
it really did. Anyways, the very last line that I have is some people also claim to see Lincoln's coffin in the back with men standing in blue suits. That's it. That's the end of my podcast. That's
Yay! Good
yay!
job. You definitely threw me for a loop. I definitely want my own funeral train.
Shocking.
And yeah, that was
There's
that was really
definitely
interesting.
yeah, there's definitely more to come on this because there is also a ghost train in Stockholm, and I have heard stories of different, like, ghost cars, like, appearing on roads and disappearing and
Mhm.
everything. Um, and then, of course, we have a whole bunch of other cursed and haunted vehicles. I believe Zach Baggins owns one.
Of course he
All
does.
of that all of that fun stuff. So maybe this will come back up sooner rather than later? Unless everyone thought this was complete garbage, and then don't at me.
No, I liked it a lot, and I look forward. I actually have the one about the guy that was in the car crash reminded me of one that I've heard, but I don't want to tell you just in case you end up doing that one.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Well, awesome
hooray!
stuff. Yay!
Yeah,
Well, if
yeah.
you have had any experiences with ghost cars or trains or vehicles or anything like that,
Your time slips.
or time slips,
I'm really on it. I that really yeah, time
they're real
slips.
fucked up. She done got fucked up.
It breaks my brain, like, you would think because I can't handle, like, quantum kind of shit that time slips would really fuck me up, but it's fascinating.
It is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can reach out to us with anything like that. She looks like she's like tripping
Yeah.
at.
Like, if I was high right now, this would be an interesting thought.
Yes, it would.
Mhm. Anyways, yeah, reach out to us.
Yes, reach out to us on Instagram at the Ghost Sisters TX or at our Gmail at theghost_sisters@gmail.com or just the Ghost Sisters at everywhere else that we have social media. And thanks for sticking with us.
And we will spook you later, bitches.
Spooky later, bitches. Goodbye.
Bye.